Welcome to a somewhat dull and overcast day in London. It's a little bit gusty windy too, so I hope you guys are going to be able to hear me. Actually, we've had a couple of dry days finally, so I'm taking my opportunity today to start to harvest some of these dry pods. For now, because there are a couple that are still green, I'm going to leave them at be. And because of that, I'm not going to actually take the plants down today. But when it comes to that stage, I'll cut the plant right at the base of the plant, but leave the root in the ground, because once I kill the plant by cutting it like that, all the nitrogen nodes on the roots, that will all disperse into the soil beautifully. I'll show you that when the time comes, because I think a lot of us talk about nitrogen nodes on the roots, dig them in, but unless you've seen it, understand it, it's not necessarily going to make sense. So, let's start with the podding. They're actually going in a bin bag, because there's that many. And then I'll cart them home on my back in the rucksack, pod them at home, and then, oh joy, bring all the pods back to go in the compost bin. Busy, busy, busy. I'm really desperate to get this done today actually, because, well, about 3 days ago I had a little bit of a fright, and it sort of got me thinking. Basically, I'd had a really, really, really hectic few days. Lots of train travel. Oh, and here comes the wind again. Yeah, lots of train travel, lots of running around, backwards and forwards, doing loads of really, really quite heavy shopping for my great aunt, carrying her shopping backwards and forwards in my rucksack on my back. And basically, I had my little session in the garden on Monday morning, went home, had my lunch. After lunch, went to get up, and my right knee just completely buckled with the most astonishing pain. It was absolutely hideous. Now, I'm in pain all day and all night, every day and every night. And I've been kind of putting up with it, because what else am I going to do? But this was just on a different scale, and I basically couldn't even stand up. I couldn't wait there. It was really, really horrible. So I took anti-inflammatories, I took painkillers, I basically put my legs up for the rest of the day. Got up the next morning and it was still the same. And I needed loo roll. Now fortunately, there are shops, literally within yards of my front door at home. So somehow or other I managed to hobble to the shops to get my loo roll and got home, but it was excruciatingly painful. It was the kind of pain, it actually made me cry. It was hideous. And that went on all day Tuesday, got a bit less Wednesday, got a bit less, and today is the first time I'm sort of properly moving about again. I've come down here today, the walk down hurt. Standing here at the moment is okay, I'm not moving too much. But it did get me thinking and reflecting that, you know, it's all very well having the passion, having the skills even, having the garden space to try to live by your own wits and just try to live by whatever you can grow. But if you physically can't do it, what do I do then? Yeah, it really stopped me in my tracks. And like I say, it really gave me a fright, because I love the garden. I hate it when I can't be here. But obviously, this is my food for the year, and if I can't be here to gather the food, what am I going to do? And, you know, I've got a couple of friends, like Graham, for instance. I'm sure he would help if I asked. But if you think about it, last year when I broke both my wrists, apart from the day Graham came down with the rotavator and helped tickle the beds over, no one helped. I was completely stuffed in the end I was off work for 9 months with these broken wrists. Not a single person helped me. So it just, yeah, like I say, it was a bit of a fright and a bit of a wake-up call that I need to think about the other things I can do if I can't be in the garden. So one of the things I have done the last couple of days is I've been doing quite a bit of sewing, because it keeps me out of mischief and it can earn me a few pennies. It's not a great earner, but it's better than nothing. That's something to fall back on. And in the meantime, hope that this surgery I'm due to have, I don't have a date yet, and I'm just praying it's by the end of October, because hopefully by the end of October the garden will be harvested. Yay! All the winter stuff is in. My friend Gary has offered to look after the garden after I've had my surgery, so he'll tend to the garden, he'll do a bit of harvesting for me of whether it's carrots, parsnips, cabbages, whatever, and then bring them to my home, which is great. But honestly, it can't come soon enough now. Apparently this first surgery is going to hopefully relieve a lot of the pain, which in turn I'm hoping will just improve my mobility, because I've also got my great aunt to think about. I need to look after her, and I can't look after her in this state. So yeah, it's been a bit of a wake-up call. I have to think about what will I do if I can't do the garden, even if that's only on a temporary basis. Hopefully it's only temporary. So just thinking about that backup plan. So if there are any of you who are thinking of going this route of jacking in your job and living the good life, hopefully if you're doing it as a couple, that's a better idea, because then if someone's poorly, the other one can be stepping in. But if you're doing it on your own, you just have to have a big think about your contingency plan for those days when you're not up to muster. So yeah, it's made me think. But in the meantime, instead of gassing, I need to get this lot harvested. There's so much. Isn't it wonderful? Oh, it's crazy good. I keep saying it, and I'm sure I'll say it again. I'm so happy with how it's gone this year. I'm so happy. Just need to make sure my legs can keep going for a bit longer. Tons more to do. I'm not going to bore you all by watching me harvesting all my beans all afternoon, but just before, I'm actually going to go and show you the cocos in a second, because I want to show you the stages of the pod so you get it just right for your harvest. But I'm dropping them. That's next year's seed. Look at these beauties. They're going to be gorgeous in a tomatoey stewy thing. That's what I had last night, tomato and bean stew. It was gorgeous. So like I say, I'll take these all home, pod them, spread everything out in a single layer on trays, put them in my south-facing window, just to give them a final bit of drying off. I don't know if you'll be able to make it out, but you can kind of hear when they're really dry, because they've got a much more sort of tinny, higher pitch sound to them. So I'll be doing that this afternoon. After I finish this lot, I'm done the cocos. So I'll see you in the cocoa patch in a second. So unfortunately it's getting far too blustery out there today to show you the cocos out there. So I thought, well, I'll bring them in here and show you what I mean in here. The only thing is, in here, I now have to make a bit of space, because that's the last of my calendula that have dried, and I now need to pull the petals off. So here is a box I prepared earlier. So that was the little stash I did a couple of days ago. How long ago was it? I was here 3 days ago, so that'll come home with me today. And then with these, actually it's worth showing you, if I can do it one-handed, so she's scrabbling around for the lid of the Tupperware. Quite simply now, I just take the head, I'm going to try and show you with one hand, can I do it with one hand? And then you just gently tease off the petals, like that. Oh, left one. So as I've managed to get down here today, I think what I'll do shortly, once I've finished with the Coco de Paimpol harvest, is I will finish these little beautiful dry flower heads off. It'll probably take me about 15-20 minutes to get through that lot. More space needed because over here, this is a load of tomatoes I rescued again. I think this is about 4 or 5 days ago now. I was removing some of the tomato plants, so what I've done is rescue any tomatoes from them, and then what I'll do is have a thorough look through them to see if any of them are showing the telltale little brown lesions, which is the sign of blight, and they will be thrown away, taken off site. These actually, probably what I'll do, because there's tons in here, is once I finish today, is I'll just spread them out along the whole sort of top of the workbench here. Basically, I need to give myself space, don't I? So yeah, I'll go through those. Any of them that have ripened and aren't showing any signs of blight can come home with me today, and guess what? Carry on bottling. Oh my goodness, it's been bottling madness this year. So I'm just for now going to balance those on there, because I've got some pods here, the cocos I want to show you. Oh, look, I'm trying to do everything with one hand. I'm going to move this so that I've got better light. Now, let's arrange these pods in order, and then I can show you. So, beautiful, beautiful Coco de Paimpol. This is the ideal stage for harvesting. This is way too late. This will become saved seed for next year. So going back in time, we got our lovely little green pod develops, and looking at it sideways, you can see how the beans are just beginning to develop in there. We leave that alone. Then we get to this stage. I wonder how good the light is. Can you see it's starting to turn that creamy yellow? And from sideways we can see how the beans are developing. Now, you could actually harvest at this stage, and I might actually have quite a few at this stage out today, just because I don't know when I'm going to get back to the garden, and they are ripening really quickly. So I can see that the beans in there are a good size, still a bit green, but never mind. This is the ideal stage for harvesting. It's this gorgeous sort of creamy yellow. The beans are beautifully fat in there. They're going to be creamy and gorgeous. Now this one, I'm just going to bring it up here because I think the light's a bit better. Can you see how it's just starting to get these little pink tinges, little spots and streaks? Now at that stage, I would normally say you've kind of missed the boat, because when it's starting to get to this stage, and look how fat the beans are in there, they are going to be a little bit tough. So many of mine have got to this stage, unfortunately, because I've been away, that what I will probably do is harvest them like this, and then I'll use them in soups, but I'll blend them. So I'm going to blend that toughness out of them. Such a shame. I got the harvest time absolutely perfect last year. And then finally this one, again, let's bring it up to the light. You can see those streaks have really started to darken, some mud splashes. So at this stage, I would just leave them on the plant. I'm going to leave them to dry on the plant completely. As you just saw with the climbing beans, I'll leave them on the plant to dry as much as nature will let them. And then I will bring them home, pod them, and they'll be my seed for next year. Let's just get them all in shot so you can see the different stages. So yeah, at this stage, Not really much use in harvesting because the beans themselves haven't developed. This stage, too late, leave it for seed. These 3 stages, you can just about get away with it, but ideal, second ideal, not quite so ideal, but still usable nonetheless. So I hope that helps any of you guys who are growing your cocos this year, and hopefully you'll be saving some seed and giving it to friends and neighbours and spreading the cocoa love for next year. Oh, so much to do, so much to do. I am going to try and have a good sesh here this afternoon, but I'm just being really, really mindful of not pushing me old knees too much. So I'm going to try and do mostly sitting down jobs, which will also include, look at that lovely sight. Actually, I'm not going to pod these here, like I said, I'm going to take them home, and at this stage they're nice and light where they've dried out, but I need to get the red onions strong, so I might do those this afternoon. I might need to do some cuddling. Hey Rust, where are you? Oh, you see, he's had his feed, he's off, bless him. And the other thing I need to start podding today, let's just bring this down here. This is the rock and core that I left on the plants to dry. And see, look how they're just starting to burst themselves open, they're so dry. So they've been up there drying now for about a week or so. Isn't that a beautiful, beautiful bean? It's funny, I've always had these to eat the whole pod, but the beans are so gorgeous. I'm actually going to try cooking with them this year. Whoops. See what they taste like, because that's so beautiful. Surely it must taste as beautiful as it looks. So much to do. So much to do. Not complaining. Loving it. Absolutely. Oh, where have we gone? I'm trying to get my glasses. Absolutely loving it. But I'm definitely going to do sit down jobs today. And then hopefully I've got a couple of days with my great aunt coming up. Hopefully I'll be fit for her. And then when I come back, we're having our apple day, our communal apple day, so we'll be picking loads and loads of apples. I can't wait. Hopefully the weather will stay nice for us, and hopefully we'll press loads of gorgeous juice. So until then, I will say cheerio, happy harvesting, please stay well, please stay healthy, and think about a contingency plan if you're not actually going to be physically able to do the garden. It's something I really, really should have thought more about. I'm thinking about it now. I'll come up with something. So in the meantime, stay well. I'll see you all again really soon, I hope. Take care.